Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Saturday, the 2nd of November 2024, the year of 1 million transactions per second or more. Experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a little flutter in private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's see what we got in store for us today. Check this out. So we've got two threads here, one from Riley Cyrus about the 1st of November 2024, Copa versus Wright Rolls building Courthouse Central London, part 1. And then this is also BitMEX. This is apparently reporting on a potential contempt of court hearing via CSW. So I don't quite know what they're trying to bring, but let's have a look at these threads anyway. Literally just going to go through them and see what they say. So Riley Cyrus has started here, said 1st of November 2024, Copa versus Wright, Rolls Building, Courthouse, Central London. It's got 1022 part 1. And then just the picture of the Rolls Building there. So it said, Bird and Bird are here in force, 6 of them at first glance. One very kind gentleman handed me this QR code. Let's see what that says. So skeleton arguments are available at the following Dropbox link. Further documents will be uploaded during the trial as they become public. Bird and Bird, Copa versus Wright trial documents. Oh, interesting. We could probably scan that ourselves, get hold of them. He said, it looks as though Craig is dialing in remotely. And it said, Bird and Bird squad looking fierce. Look at that. Yeah. All suited and booted. So he said, looks like there are 9 people tuned in remotely. 10:31, the judge is late. Obviously doesn't care about tidiness. Mellor walks in. Mellor addresses Craig as Dr. Wright and not Craig straight away. Looks like we're having technical difficulties. Mellor's camera is working, so it must be a difficulty on Craig's end. We have no audio or visual at this point. These Bird and Bird guys look so smug. Blood suckers. Mellor asking if Dr. Wright can see and hear us. 10:38, Mellor keeps asking Dr. Wright if he can hear him. I wonder if Craig is ignoring him because he's not addressing him by his given name. 10:46, we can finally hear Craig. Craig is not being represented today by anyone. Mellor says Craig's skeleton argument is illuminating. Copa are trying to find Craig in contempt of court. Craig doesn't look bothered at all. Mellor has made some observations. He says that we should hear the contempt application first. Sounds like they're talking about the passing off claim too. Mellor seems to be disagreeing with Bird and Bird on the terms of the claim. Craig looks very smart in an electric blue shirt with bright red tie. Promissory estoppel has been brought up now. Says if Craig isn't Satoshi, then he has no right to promissory estoppel. Mellor and this Bird and Bird dude seem to be vehemently disagreeing with one another. It sounds like they're trying to address both the passing off claim and the identity appeal in one hearing. Mellor and lawyers seem to be disagreeing on this point. I think the lawyer's just trying to drum up more business for himself. Giving a day and a half for the contempt applications, Mellor has a slot to hear that on the 12th and 13th of December. Lawyer can't make his date. 18th, 19th of December. Doesn't look like Craig can make that date. Craig says he can do 18th to 19th of December. Mellor is envisioning a stay until conclusion of the contempt hearing. Craig is very polite, speaking remotely. If he talks out of turn, he immediately apologises. Mellor stays the claim against Square Up and any other weaker defendants. Calvin here has posted, I've been something of a gym rat since I was a teenager, but sometimes the best way to get your heart pumping and your brain thinking is to get out of the gym and into a hiking trail. Very good. Alright, and let's see what BitMEX has got to say about this. So, tweet here from Mark Hunter saying, Craig tried everything he could to get out of an in-person contempt hearing, including missing his family, autism, and even jet lag. Mellor will decide following a 26th of November hearing whether or not he has to attend. Either way, contempt hearing takes place at December 18th and 19th. Alright, and let's follow this thread from BitMEX. So BitMEX has said, we are back at the Rolls Building in London for another hearing with Justice Mellor in the courtroom. In the courtroom is the Bird and Bird legal team, along with their KC, Mr. Jonathan Hoff. The session is expected to start in 3 minutes. We believe the hearing is about a contempt of court application from Bird and Bird against CSW in relation to possible breaches of the injunction which resulted from the main trial. So they've said Justice Mellor has arrived at the session as Justice Mellor has arrived and the session has started. CSW's dialed in via video. Judge Mellor, have we got CSW on the line? We have. CSW, are you able to hear me? CSW, no response. Hoff KC, here is his camera is activated. We are ending the call and trying to start it again to see if we can hear CSW. While we cannot hear CSW, Bird and Bird have released the contempt application forms. Okay. The court hereby dispenses with any requirement for personal service of this order for all purposes, including, without limitation, for the purposes of Rule 81.4, 2 and C of Civil Procedure Rules 1998. For all purposes, this order may be validly be served by email on a solicitors for Dr. Wright at hawkus@harkusparker.co.uk. Be the solicitor. Yeah, we get it. Alright, next one. Summary of the facts alleged to have constituted the contempt. Set out very briefly in chronological order in numbered points. Number 1. On the 9th of October 2024, Dr. Wright posted a series of messages on his X Twitter account under the name of CS Tominaga, constituting a threat to bring precluded proceedings as defined in the order. On the 10th of October 2024, Dr. Wright did bring precluded proceedings as defined in the order by filing a claim for the particulars of claim at the Business and Property Courts of England and Wales for issue which was given claim number and which listed defendants in the name of BTC Core and Square Up Europe Limited. After Dr. Wright proceeded to serve the new claim on the second defendant, 3. On or about the 18th of October 2024, Dr. Wright caused the online notice at his X-Twitter account under the name of Dr. CS Wright to be removed prior to the expiry of the time limit for the display of the said online notice provided for under paragraph 5 of the order, being 23rd of October 2024. Alright. Date and terms of the order allegedly breached or disobeyed the order. If there are more than one such order set out, the date and terms of the order, threatening to bring precluded proceedings as defined in the order in breach of injunction set out under paragraph 2 of the order, bringing precluded proceedings as defined in the order in breach of the injunction set out under paragraph 1, failing to display the online notice as defined in the court order in relation to his X-Twitter account, Dr. CS Wright, for the full period orders, i.e. until 23rd of October 2024, in breach of the positive injunction to do so under paragraph 5 of the order. Craig has said he doesn't have control of that profile. Judge CSW, can you hear me? CSW, I can, my lord. My video is on, my lord. Judge, let's proceed. Hoff KC, CSW is here by remote link from Singapore and is not legally represented today. Judge Miller, thank you both for your skeleton arguments. CSW is eliminating. I think it's eliminating. Hoff KC, today's hearing is for the contempt application and the square up stay application. Judge, let me make some observations. I see why the contempt application has to be one of the first applications. However, in my view, the contempt of the skeleton from CSW might be able to amend his claim to remove any reliance on his ownership of Bitcoin. I will need to dig into the contempt claim in quite some detail and all at once. Hoff KC. The application by Square Up is to stay the new claim until we deal with the contempt application. If COPA succeeds, CSW will be advised to discontinue the claim to mitigate his contempt. If COPA win the contempt claim, then they could use the injunction to argue the claims are abusive and would not need to use other grounds to argue the claim is abusive. Hoff KC, if there is no claim, then CSW could ask for a default judgment. CSW has listed over 100 corporates and Bitcoin developers as partners. If you do not grant a stay, then your inbox could be full of claims from the partners asking you not to make a default judgment. Mela laughs. Here is CSW's application listing 122 entities and some Bitcoin developers. Judge, I have read what CSW says about the stay, but I think CSW might not understand the situation. The contempt application is 1.5 days. I have a slot on the 12th and 13th of December. I agree we should resolve the contempt application as soon as we can. Hoff KC says, I have a booked holiday with flights then. Judge suggests 18th of December. Fine by me. What about CSW? Judge, can you do 18th of December? CSW, let me check. Might be a problem. I can do the 18th and 19th of December. Judge says, CSW, I see from your skeleton you do not want to stay, but the stay can be a short period of time. It probably would not affect any trial date, so I do not see the oppressive, which is what you claim. CSW says, okay, no problem with that then. Judge says, anything else you want to say? CSW says, I have no objection. Judge says, helpful CSW, thank you. Ruling from the judge, he says, I will stay the claim until square up and any other defendants. Judge says, if CSW wants to serve a claim against 122 entities, it needs to be reformatted and serviced out, but that can be dealt with after contempt applications. CSW says, I do not want to wait for any application of the contempt hearing. What they are doing is abusive. It could last years. They want to change the protocol, Bitcoin, further to enable more money laundering. I do not agree with that. Oh yeah, so that's CSW saying I don't agree with what they want to do to enable further money laundering. Judge says, okay, well, for instance, what if you want to appeal against a contempt finding against you? You might be in favour of a further stay. CSW says, I do not believe I'm in contempt, my lord. Judge says, I've not decided yet on the contempt application. I am thinking of the most efficient way. CSW says, if I am told by the court that I am in breach, I will amend my case. I do not want to be in breach. Hoff says, we will be in favour of a stay until Mela decides after the decision on contempt. The argument on stay can then continue. CSW says, I have no arguments against that. Not much will happen before Christmas. Judge says, okay, thanks very much. Hoff KC says, so the contempt hearing looks set for the 18th of December. Judge says, will there be need for cross-examination? It seems there is no dispute to the facts. It's just legal arguments. Hoff KC says there may be a dispute on sentences. CSW may say he did not understand the orders, which might impact the sentence. Judge says, are you saying cross-examination would require CSW to be here in person? Hoff KC says that is one of our points. Yes. Hoff KC says we propose a page limit size for the skeletons. On both sides of the contempt hearing, we think 40 pages would be right. Judge is speaking to CSW. I'm inclined not to agree with a 40-page limit, as you are alleged to be in contempt. In brackets here, judge asking CSW to include proper citations in the documents. CSW says, what about copyright? Judge says, there is a defense to copyright in legal proceedings, so you do not need to worry about that. CSW says, okay, my lord. Hoff KC says, this is an extremely serious judicial proceeding. Therefore, we think it should take place in person. CSW has brought a very large claim. If there is any merit in Copa's application, it is wrong in principle to hide behind a keyboard from a closet in Thailand. CSW says he is a UK resident and should be expected to return to the UK for the hearing. Hoff KC says there are judicial problems if he gives evidence. For instance, one needs to check with foreign authorities. As an illustration, Thailand, there is no permission for Thai authorities to give evidence in the UK courts via video link. This places the court in a difficult position. For instance, can the court rely on where CSW says he will be? Hoff KC says the final point we make on this is that CSW is seeking to evade the consequences of his actions. He may want to avoid the police or avoid detention. Hoff KC says someone tweeted a photo of the court. Judge said that should not be done. Someone in the back. The court was not in session when I tweeted. Yeah, we know who that was. CSW says I think I will be in Singapore at the time of the hearing. My wife is from Singapore. There is no jurisdictional issues in Singapore. For instance, look at me. How the lighting is set in a certain way. Being able to sit in a courtroom is a different issue. I might have a meltdown, and I might not be cognitively available. Cognitively available. Where's that just gone? In my own environment, I'm much better. CSW continues saying, I'm very high on the autism scale. I do not work well with people. I do not have other people here. My wife does not even come into the office. Under the Disability Act and the Equalities Act, I should respond without being interrupted and without people in the background doing things. CSW said also, it will be difficult for me to be in England anyway from my family over Christmas. I very rarely see my children, and they will be in Singapore around this time. Judge says, CSW, I understand what you say. I think you are underestimating the seriousness of a contempt application. CSW says, I know how serious it is. Judge says, excuse me, the person accused of contempt needs to be present in court in other cases. What I am minded to do is defer a decision on this point until we've seen your further evidence. I understand you want to see your family, but there are flight delays to Singapore. CSW says, I do not want to be in court jet lagged. Judge says, well, you could come over a few days before. HofQC says, let me read the UK guidance on Singapore. Each court or tribunal must be contacted for information. Judge says, CSW, if you're in Singapore, you need to apply to the authorities and ask for permission, or the hearing would be delayed. CSW says, I understand, my lord. Judge says, as for your condition, there is a lot of evidence that I have observed you for several days in court. Why do I need further evidence about your condition? CSW says, you're not an expert on my condition, and the previous reports on my condition are not from people that know me. Judge says, are you applying to introduce further evidence on your ASD condition? CSW says yes. Judge says, my inclination is that you must do it at the same time as your evidence on the contempt application. Judge says, what's the name of this additional expert? CSW says, I am terrible with names. My wife knows his names. I can ping my wife and ask her. Judge says, please provide the name as soon as possible after the hearing. Judge says, we're looking at further directions hearing on 26th and 27th of November. CSW says, I can do it by call on the 26th. Hoff KC says, on cost, Square Up want to the costs of the application stay. Judge says, I rule that all the costs, including the stay, will go to the case. I know Square were successful in the stay application. The costs will go in the case. And the hearing is finished for the day. All right. Let's just see if there's anything more from Riley Cyrus. Here we go. I'm sure I saw something that sounded quite funny. Or maybe that's it. I love that. Craig just doesn't look bothered at all. Cool as a cucumber. I'm sure there was a post where Copa were accusing Craig of being in Thailand, and Craig just said, I'm not in Thailand, I'm in Singapore. Right, brilliant. There we go. That's a quicker 21-minute show for today. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. So, as ever, if you enjoy these updates, please ding your donations for your appreciation to Satoshi at either Sentby.com, Handcash.io, Simply.cash, Relasia.com, Rockwallet.me, or Senti.ch. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. As ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.